Hi everyone, welcome back to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds, and also welcome to a return guest, Mr. Jonathan Hedrick. Jonathan,
Mm.
thank you for coming back for a second time.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, Jason.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I said you came back for a second time. This is the first time you've been back, so that's actually the second time. Um,
Semantics.
yes. But glad to have you back, and I know that we're talking about a book called Brackish.
Yeah,
Great name for a book. I don't hear the word
thank you.
brackish enough. Yeah, that's very cool, and
Thank
it
you.
immediately conjures
Mm.
images of like swamplands and
Yeah.
the mysteries of dark corners at night and
Mhm.
bogs and such.
Yeah.
So it creates that image very well. You've also created Dream Master, Quicksand,
Mhm.
Space Cadet, and
Mhm.
a number of other books as well.
Yeah.
So I know on this episode we're focusing more on Brackish and anything else that's going on that's current. So by means of a welcome back question, what's going on? What are you up to these days?
Well, I think when we last spoke, I was promoting my previous Kickstarter campaign, which was Spill Blood, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so that project's been fulfilled, and I've received pretty positive, reception from that. Um, that's out in the universe, and I'm excited that that is wrapped. And it was a fun project. It was a big Kickstarter campaign with lots of extra goodies that got added on, and the finished product is fantastic. I get a lot of compliments on how the book feels. You don't get
Mm-hmm.
that. You get a lot of people, telling you how great the art is, or sometimes the writing. But when you get complimented on the how how it is in hand, that's an extra bonus
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
we did put a lot of the extra funding into the higher quality printing. So I was happy to see people respond well to that. And then beyond that, my wife and I, Francesca Fantini,
Mm-hmm.
we had a one shot come out through KeenSpot last month called Can I Scream? And we did like a 6 weekend tour throughout Florida, through various local comic shops to promote that. And that was a lot of fun. We've, of course, have been to many events, cons, and in-store signings together, tabling side by side or at the same table. But this was one where we could, do the same book together. It was, husband and wife combo, and it was
Mm-hmm.
our book, that we were putting in people's hands. So that was a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, and now it's Brackish, which is in the front of on the main stage right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a really cool comic book that I've been working on for a long time, and I hope people take a chance on it.
Yeah, and you're talking about working with Francesca, that's got to be really rewarding to get the chance to have sort of like family collaboration that way too.
Absolutely. We couldn't wait to get to do a project together, but we had to wait for the stars to align, other projects that her or I were working on. So, it's not as easy as, hey, we're a husband and wife comic book creator. It just should automatically happen. No,
Right.
it's not that easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it finally came to, reality, which was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you mentioned brackish there again, and I'm curious
Mhm.
about the ingredients. What's sort of baked into the story that you would want to share with listeners?
Yeah, so I like to call it a modern Romeo and Juliet um, story, but that's a very high level elevator pitch to it with a little bit of um, TV's Yellowstone. So
Hmm.
if people are familiar with that show, it's this rancher that's really doing the best he can to hold on to his land. So if you imagine that mixed with Romeo and Juliet and set in modern Florida swamps, then you have Brackish, which is I like to call it a dark romantic drama which and we don't see that kind of genre very much in comic books right now.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping people um, will look at it as a breath of fresh air, something different on the shelves than superhero, horror, sci-fi, and the rest. So not to say that I'm reinventing the wheel or anything. Just I saw maybe a, a need
Yeah.
in the comic book market for a book like this. So I hope people will be pleased with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's a testament to the fact that you can really tell any kind of story in comics. And that
Yes.
that adage that I hear from creators of find the book that you want to read and then make it and put it out there.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah.
100%. This was a story, I pitched it a long time ago to a defunct now publisher. Um, and it just sat with me. I like, well, if you don't do anything with it, I'm going to do something with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's basically how a lot of my comic books have come, into existence. Quicksand was something that was turned down by that same publisher. Can I Scream was something that was turned down by that same publisher. So it's not going to stop me, by hearing those no's. I'm going to still make it, especially if I'm passionate about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Love the persistence, love the
Mhm.
passion. And it sounds like that publisher should maybe say yes as well at some point.
It, well, if they even are a business anymore, I haven't seen
Right,
them
right.
put out anything in a while. So I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah,
that was a blessing or who knows, but
true. True
it
enough.
worked out in my favor at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you might have hinted to this somewhat, but I'm curious about what creating the book, what creating Brackish has allowed you to explore as a creator.
Yeah, that's a great question. Because this one is grounded in reality, much like another one of my books, The Recount.
Hmm.
There's almost something with those books where they're not far-fetched that requires more research and to be more accurate, even though it's a fictional story. So what I like about it is, I'm already on issue 4 script wise, and I find myself digging it to put more flashbacks to understand this family's history in these books, to understand the feud that's going on in it now. So I found myself looking into Prohibition history and
Hmm.
first generation Florida lives and things like that, post Civil War era Florida. So that's a lot of fun, while also um, not sounding like a 40-year-old something person writing teenage dialogue.
Right, right.
That is can be challenging,
Hmm.
uh, so I don't know, it's a lot of fun. Challenge is fun, and just putting my heart and soul from paper to pen.
Yeah, love it. Well, I can tell you're very busy in this world of creating. We were talking about the boxes behind you, the postage.
Yeah.
You have the banners going there, so
Yep.
you are full on in the universe of creating.
Yeah.
If people out there would like to know where they can go to support, I'm curious. It sounds like this has a good bit of your creative attention
Mm.
uh, as a multiple issue arc, but
Mm.
curious about anything that you'd like readers, listeners to know about where they can go to support.
Well, I have my own website, jonathanhedrickcomics.com. And that's a great hub to get access other things too. I have links from there to go pick up Dream Master from Black Box, who published it. And there's links to pick up Space Cadet on Scout's website. You can pick up Can I Scream from Keenspot. There's a hub for all those links. As well as to access my global comics library. So if if you prefer digital, so that's a great way to find all the other things. I have a cover gallery that you can look through if you're not familiar with all my work, and then you can contact me through there too. So I like bringing people to my website, and then they branch off from there.
Sounds like you're
Yeah,
busy with creating
yeah.
and probably much travel and promoting to come in 2025 and beyond, it
The,
sounds like.
yeah, it's the truth right there. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Mhm.
sure. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for the work. Always glad to share
appreciate
about
it.
what you're doing. Do you have anything that you'd like to mention before we close out? Anything that we might have missed?
Well, if you missed out on Can I Scream, that did sell out at the first print, and we are going to second print. So look for that with a new cover in previews soon. And if you missed out on the Spill Blood campaign, that should be hitting the direct market in October. So keep an eye on my social media. When that's in previews, I'll be pushing that heavily too.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much and glad to have you back anytime.
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it.